Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Munson Steed, along with my co-host, Terry Shropshire, and welcome to Rolling Out News Report. We're here this evening talking about the idea of what it is to be in a pandemic of multiple perspectives, both racial profiling, racial discrimination, and at the same time, a physical and emotional pandemic that literally has our entire community at risk. Good evening, Terry.
Hey, what's going on? Actually, I think we're in a triple pandemic, epidemic in terms of the virus, in terms of the economic collapse of the country and possibly the world, and then dealing with police brutality and racial injustice that continues on. Even as the insurrection is exploding with historical proportions across the country. So, actually, we're dealing with several epidemics at the same time. And so, the country is reeling. It's trying to gather its balance, is leaning against the ropes, and is trying to get its equilibrium.
Not certain it'll find a little equilibrium. What do you think the keys are to having equilibrium right now?
Well, I think that we first of all is self-preservation. So before we do anything else, we need to just stay safe, so we can stay alive, so we can stay strong in this struggle and in this very winnable battle against police brutality and racism and the coronavirus. Then we need to arm ourselves with knowledge and adhere to the financial business experts who are showing us and telling us the ways in which we can acquire, sustain, and grow our wealth, intergenerational wealth. And then we need to go ahead and adhere to the other dominant cultures who we can model their success in terms of Jews, Asians, and other minority groups who have shown that cultural unity helps to provide a force field, if you will, against some of these, because you notice that police brutality doesn't break out in the Asian communities. It doesn't happen to Jews at all. And it most certainly doesn't happen to the white Anglo-Saxon or Protestant in this country. It seems to happen with regularity with Blacks and other minorities, especially African Americans, because we don't have the infrastructure in which to fight off and to empower ourselves. But we have the potentials right there in front of us. So that's what we need to do.
All right. So we have a big week. 1 day in, 2 shots to the back, and the community is back in the street. What do you think we'll learn? Will we actually get these officers be charged this week? What are you projecting?
Well, my question is, which officers? The officers in Minneapolis have been charged, but are you talking the officers?
2 shots to the back.
Oh, you're talking about Atlanta. They were going to come out with a word tomorrow on Wednesday. That is what District Attorney Paul Howard said, that he would come with a decision. I suspect that he will acquiesce and capitulate to public pressure and go ahead with some charges of some sort against one of the officers. The other one, probably not, but at least the officer who pulled the trigger, because he has multiple citizens' complaints against him. So it's not looking good for the home team if you're pro officers. It's not looking good for the shooter of Mr. Brooks at the Wendy's on Friday.
New laws from executive order, that is, from the president. So maybe we won't see any new no-knock warrants, but still no charges there in Louisville.
Yeah. It's just it's indefensible that there are no charges because basically they took a life, and someone needs to be held accountable for that. One of the officers, all of the three officers, the person who made out the warrant, whoever signed the warrant, somebody needs to be held accountable in Louisville, because when you break in the home of an innocent person and you kill and you kill that person, someone has to be held accountable for it. A person can't just die and then no one be held accountable for it. So, but I mean, the no knock warrant and the executive order signed on Pennsylvania Avenue this afternoon. I mean, those are empty, hollow documents unless they are followed by the actual will of the people to to adhere to those documents. So the documents themselves are just a piece of paper. So I'm not going to be the one to start throwing babies up in the air and have a parade based upon just because of the signing of these documents. It has to be followed up. It has to be adhered to. And then when it's not, there has to be repercussions.
What do you think is delaying the Louisville charges so much? I mean, it appears that we really don't see movement here as it relates to charges.
I mean, it probably the individuals. I mean, the power structure within the city of Louisville and the state of Kentucky probably was hoping that she would just fade into the mist, just fade into the night, like or fade into the sky like the morning mist. They thought that this would be, and for a while, her case was buried under layers and layers of other national debacles, like the one in Brunswick, Georgia, and Minneapolis, and then the insurrection across in many major cities across the country. So that is something that they thought was going to go away, but it's not going to go away. Beyonce and T.I. and other major entertainers or A-list entertainers have spoken on regards to this issue. It's not going to go away. Some type of charges are going to have to be filed. They are going to have to capitulate to the public will and demand that someone be held accountable, and not because of the public will. The public pressure is going to make them do what they were already supposed to do. So,
yeah, Kara Pearson says it's amazing they can pass a Rihanna law but fail to charge anyone.
And that's what I'm talking about. I mean, there's nothing to celebrate. There's nothing to get excited about. There's no progress. There's absolutely no progress. I mean, whatever. So it's just like what Malcolm said. If I stab you in the back 9 inches and I pull it out 6 inches, that's not progress. If I pull it out all the way, that's not progress. Progress is when you're actually healing the wound that the stabbing made, not just pulling the knife out the back. So we still got the knife in our back, much less they haven't even pulled it out yet. So I'm not going to get excited about some worthless piece of paper. No, because they'll justify doing it again and saying that it was in the interest of public safety or whatever. No, they have to find someone held accountable. And I don't think that Black people in Louisville, in the state of Kentucky, are going to remain quiet. They must do something. Something must happen, and soon. And they turned in an empty document. I mean, that's just repugnant. You turn an empty document from a woman who was shot to death. Now, I was in the military. I was a military cop, and I said this yesterday. Being a military cop is way below being a regular city cop. But yet the amount of paperwork that I had to fill out for each incident that I got involved with was massive. So how in the city of Louisville can you possibly turn in a near empty document on a woman who got killed on a no-knock warrant? That's quite impossible. It's not only that somebody should be criminally charged, somebody should be charged with dereliction of duty. That's dereliction of duty. So multiple people, there's a lot of heads that need to be rolling down the street of Louisville like a bowling ball. So yeah, that's impossible. It's impossible if somebody hasn't been charged. So we need to stay on top of that. And I need to get in touch with someone from the civic and political community in Louisville so that we can find out firsthand exactly what is the status and the progress on this investigation. If there is even such an investigation going on. I know there is. because the Attorney General is investigating. So what we need to find out what his office is doing and what kind of evidence they needs to gather at the months. This thing happened months ago.
Begins to feel like the whole Brunswick, 2.5 months, and the district attorney can't find his way to, and then has to recluse himself because he has a relationship with it.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is that the good thing about modern technology that was created by this culture is that it's come back to bite them in the case of Minneapolis and in the case of Brunswick, Georgia, and all across the country. Even the case of Jay Farrow, if I'm saying his name right, he used to be a comedian on Saturday Night Live. And he showed that that an LAPD officer kneeled on his neck. So modern technology is helping to equalize things in terms of that we now are able to cover receipts for what we have charged with for decades but could not prove. Now, in the case of Breonna Taylor, unfortunately, because they were not wearing body armor, they were not wearing body cams, because they were going under the auspices of being plain clothes and undercover. There is no record. There is nothing to substantiate or to basically counter their claims that they knocked at the door. We don't know what the struggle was. We don't know how it went down. We don't know what exactly the circumstances that mitigated the shooting. And so basically, we are left to listen and trust the state attorney general and the district attorney that covers Louisville. And that's where it's coming in. That's why they're going so slow. If we had physical evidence, if we had surveillance tapes, if we had receipts, these people would already be charged. But without that,
28 bullets, the fact that she was asleep, the fact that no drugs were found, the fact that they're just riddled the whole apartment with bullets.
Yeah.
And there's no evidence.
Well, yeah. I mean, based upon the evidence as it states, they should be charged. They should first be charged with, like I said, dereliction of duty for not properly filling out police forms. Wow, I hated filling out all those police forms. The filling out a police report is almost like working another shift, which is why when we was in the military, if there was something going on and we could let somebody get away with it, try to de-escalate the situation, we would, because arresting them and filling out that paperwork, it just took hours. So, So the fact that it's empty means that somebody was asleep at the wheel. They need to be charged for that, and then they need to be criminally charged. So administratively charged and criminally charged.
So the judge, the whole idea of a judge, no knock warrant, you think he should be charged here?
Yes, from a theoretical standpoint, yeah. But I mean, from a practical standpoint, there's no way to indict him. I mean, there's no way to prove that he knew that this was a false warrant. How do you prove that? In a court of law, I mean, we know what we feel and what we think, but the law probably doesn't provide some type of recourse that we could charge the judge or the police officer or the police sergeant or the police supervisor who filled out the warrant, signed off on the warrant, that kind of thing. But if the officers need to be charged because they went to and on top of everything else that you just named, they went to the wrong place. And they also shot into that house, into that apartment, after the man that they were looking for was already arrested. So there was no justification for even going in there. They went in there because they went into the home of a group of people who cannot defend themselves politically, financially, culturally. So basically, those officers need to be charged. But the judge, I don't know if we can find anyone with the jurisdiction to be able to do that.
Not enough.
But I agree with Kara Pearson from Washington, D.C. Thank you, Kara Pearson, for tuning in. Call to action with the folks in Louisville. That is correct. You got to stay up on them. We got to, just flood their telephones, maybe even take to the streets. Basically, they're already in the streets all over the country, but they should not be allowed to sleep, to have a good night's sleep until there is some type of legal resolution in this case.
There appears to be a moving concern with the second surge of the pandemic coming by.
No, Munson, your vice president said that there's not.
Oh, mine. Let me call him up there. I got to go talk to him about that.
The vice president Pence said that there is not a second wave that's coming, despite the overwhelming empirical data that just states it plainly that there are multiple states, and I'll go ahead and get the stats. I did it last week, but I'll go ahead and get an update, that there are multiple states who have experienced an uptick. The trajectory is going up in terms of the number of cases, particularly in Texas and Arizona.
We're going up.
And so, I just think that, and Vice President cannot speak unless he's given permission to by the president, by his boss. So he is speaking on behalf of the White House, that's saying that there is no uptick. They're trying to justify and trying to of the people in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to hold this rally this weekend. That seats about 20,000 people, and so So I just don't understand. There is no evidence. I mean, you can say whatever you want in America, but you lack credibility when you say something and you're not able to back it up with stats or receipts. So he didn't offer any stats that said there was no return, when all of the medical practitioners says that it is. And shout out to Karen Johnston in Atlanta, and shout out to Gregory Dandridge. Yeah, alternative facts. Or there was somebody on Pennsylvania Avenue that made up the term fake news. He made up that term. So why don't we, Gregory Dandridge, should come back with the thing called fake facts. I like that alternative facts. I like fake facts better because, it's got that, it flows off the tongue better. Fake facts. And that's what's being disseminated out of the Pennsylvania Avenue, is that there is no uptick in coronavirus cases. There is no second wave, and there will be no second wave. Fake facts.
Fake facts, Terry. Fake facts. We're going to have a fake facts moment before we close out tonight. Fake facts. Yeah. It is Black Music Month. We're going to be joined tonight by Tony Terry on the Rolling Out News Report. Before we turn to some great news, we want to lift up those who have created music for us, brought our community forward. So hopefully many of you are listening to some movement music right about now. We need Tony Terry to share his voice and his ideas on how creativity and love.
I saw him multiple times on the Tom Joyner cruise when I went. And I tried not to take my lady friend over there because they'd become entranced with his music. And so that didn't work to my advantage. Tony Terry was very talented, but he would have the whole room entranced. And so, this guy comes with the noise, and he's very talented. Been around for a minute, so shout out to Tony Terry.
Thank you.
Shout out to the new Jack swing singer from DC. R&B hits through the 80s, 90s, and happy Father's Day to Tony Terry. What's happening, Tony?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen? How are you?
Yeah, what's up? What's happening?
It's all good, man. Thank you for having me, man. Thank you much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And I don't appreciate you stealing the attentions of my lady friends on Tom Joyner cruise. But I've gotten over it. I'm saying? I'm strong. I've recovered.
That's what's up, man. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah.
Why not, man? Our community, it's definitely Black Music Month, and we want our community. We need a little bit of healing right now. We know you got a new project.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about your new project, brother?
Well, I signed to a new independent company called the New Music Group, and we're working on a concept album right now. It's actually a love story. I'm really excited about it. It's really interesting because the songs were written about me, right? And so I heard the songs and thought, wow, this is really powerful. The emotions were honest, pure, and so it's going to develop into an album called Just How I Feel that should be out before the end of the year.
Cool. It'll be just what people need during the winter months,
Yes, sir.
The love and sharing just how we feel, because everybody's talking about how they feel right about now.
Yeah. Especially with these, close quarters, everybody's confined to being in the same space. Sometimes how I feel is not such a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not working out. Despite what's going on, what we realize that at the end of the day, and I know this sounds corny and cliche, but it's so true in the simplest form, is that love really is the answer.
No, that's absolutely true, and it's not a cliche if it's actually true. Cliches are just retread, regurgitated rhetoric, but love is stronger. But I wanted to ask you, because you write about and you sing about love, and so you come from that era where they actually knew how to sing, not sing. You know how to sing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to know, how you use music to heal and to strengthen and to take people away, even if temporarily, from the harsh.
Okay. So look at it like this: worship leader in church, his job is to lead people, prepare people for the word. But if he doesn't go, then the people won't go with him. And it's the same, in every genre of music. So I take a few minutes to sing, love songs, and it's just therapeutic for me, to use my gift as it is for people that are listening and responding. And I just try to honestly surrender to the music and tell my truth or tell the truth in the songs that I'm singing so that people can be affected by them, honestly, genuinely.
That's what's up. And the music that you're putting out today, what it's the importance of music in terms of it's amplified today because people need something that is sort of, I know it's cathartic for you, but it's therapeutic for your listeners because we need some soul therapy. We need to have our souls massaged.
Yeah, absolutely. I do, and tonight is included. I do Tony Terry Tuesdays, every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. On my fan page, I do a live concert for about an hour. And I do socially conscious songs. I do cover songs that I like. I do some throwbacks, a few Tony Terry songs. But, it's as you said, it's cathartic for me to do. It's kind of like the thing that I can give. I have the gift of music, so that's what I give. And it seems like people are responding positively to it because on the weeks that I haven't done it, my DMs get flooded.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's right. And I'm ready to hear some music because my lady friend isn't with me today, so I can prepare to listen to some music today.
Yeah. Tune in at 9 o'clock, bro. I got you covered.
All right, that's what's up.
Your new single, "Take Me."
Yeah.
Where were you when you wrote it?
Actually, it was written by a young man here in Atlanta, and what drew me to the song was, the kind of gospel-y thing, the undertone to it. But the song says, "Take me to the middle of your river and baptize me in you, in your love." It's really a love song. It just sounds risque. It's a love song.
You're getting baptized in love, Terry.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's what you need. Yeah, I mean, that's what you need. It's almost like it's almost like strengthening your mental immune system. It's just it just strengthens you in your mind and your soul.
There's never a time when music hasn't been important. I mean, it's the one thing that we go to when we're sad. We celebrate with music. We mourn with music, we pray with music, we party with music, we meditate with music. There's never, there's a place for music in every aspect of your lives. And, I don't take for granted that some of the music that I've made has become a part of the fabric of people's lives. That's so humbling. I wish I did have something to do with that, but I know it doesn't really have anything to do with me. I'm grateful that it happened, though.
So for Black Music Month, when you think about that, what are the 2 songs that you think people always remember and think about you for?
Of course, With You and Everlasting Love. Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the best is yet to come. I mean, that's what people, I was asked to do Unsung once. And I understand the premise of the show, which is about artists who haven't really received their just due, if you will. But I feel like the best is yet to come. I mean, my story is not over, it's still being written. I'm still creating, I'm still working on music. So I resisted the opportunity first time it came around to do that.
No, that's what's up. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And that's a good way to put it because, we're all in that era, we're seasoned now, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Put a little dash here and put a little, pinch of that there, you know what I'm saying, of life. And, that adds a little spice to life and you're able to create more and in a better space because when you're young, you're so full of vigor and you kind of tend to take things for granted. When you get older, it's just like Kobe or Jordan or LeBron. They can't jump as high anymore, but they're smarter and they're better.
Smarter, right. They work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, exactly. So, I imagine you take that same philosophy nowadays, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so what should, in addition to those, what are some of the other songs that you have in your large portfolio that you turn to yourself, your music, when you're down or difficult times?
Last night I recorded a song called My Soul is Anchored. And last night I felt like I needed to listen to that to remind myself. I've recorded gospel music, I've recorded jazz music. Without sounding narcissistic, I'm a fan of my own stuff.
No, I don't think that's narcissistic at all. No, I'm an artist too, in a way, on the other spectrum of artistry. I'm a writer, and I love reading my own writing.
And then you go back and read what things that you've written, 5 years ago, even a year ago, and then how far you've progressed. Because for me, it's a continual learning process. I'm 56, I'm still making music, but I still think that I'm a student of my craft.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like I still watch the tapes, if you will.
No, that's what's up. That's